All right. We have Dennis with us tonight.
He's a sucker.
He's back by popular demand. And we certainly appreciate those that came to the class today, that came down to the meeting, because this is making it a very long day for all.
I think 15 of us are.
15?
I think there are 15 of us here at least. We're in the class.
These are the true-blooded Moses. Anyway, Dennis is going to talk about building your own cloud and hard drives get a second life. Welcome. Thank you.
Everybody hear me okay? Yep. This won't be a very long lecture, and I'm sure at some points in this lecture, if you have questions, just raise your hand because it's not going to be that long. But what I'm worried about is this may also confuse you just a little bit because just when you're like, oh great, you're being here for anything more, confuse me some more.
Our members never get confused.
That's why I have Jerry, George, and Bubba.
For over an hour.
Well, again, George asked me to do this. I start looking into a little bit because it's true. Hard drives are going to get a second life, but it's also going to mess us up in the house a little bit more, or at the office. And we'll explain more of that as we go. Tonight, as it was in the Wall Street Journal and a few other magazines, they were talking about personal clouds or your cloud. Basically, what they're talking about is how many have an external hard drive at their house? Backup. Okay. Picture that is sitting just in the middle of your living room, and all 5 computers in your house and iPads and iPhones all talk and send data to and from this thing. And technically, if you leave and go to Starbucks, you can still be pulling data off that particular device in your house. That's what we're talking about. And there's a few companies out there, there's a bunch now that are jumping on a bandwagon. But right now, we're going to talk about the couple that were in the Wall Street Journal. And one is the Seagate Personal Cloud, that's what they called it. WD called it My Cloud. Guess what Apple called it? No, iCloud. Just testing. All right, and connected data has something else called a transporter, and we'll talk about that. It goes through some of the pros and cons. And then, really, at the end, is one of these ideas or thoughts or concepts right for me? And then we'll have questions and answers. All right. When you start talking about the personal cloud, people say, well, I don't want to do this. Well, how many have heard of Carbonite or Crash Plan and okay, there's iDrive, there's a whole bunch out there. Now those are for backup, but also do some personal stuff. You can also do things like Dropbox, okay, Google Drive, SkyDrive from Microsoft. All of these things are out there. Everybody wants your data. Everybody wants your stuff. Apple wants you, Google wants you, Microsoft wants you. You have to decide which one of these devils you want to sleep with because that's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, if you start looking at the new hard drive, the new Macintosh computers, especially the laptops, they're getting thinner, tinier, very lightweight, long battery life, and no hard drive. Look at the storage capacities on these things. It costs almost $800 upgrade just to get a 1 terabyte drive in these devices. It's an SSD hard drive, which is sad because I've gone a whole life along with you guys. We progressed. I went from a 40 megabyte hard drive, which was like, woo, king of my block, 25 megahertz processor, all the way up to, I remember when the first 2 gig drive came out. Well, now we're into terabytes, we're up to 6 terabytes, actually up to 8 as they're moving on some of these companies. But when you start doing these monthly plans for storage and backup, like if you use Dropbox, everybody costs money. iCloud, you start doing a backup, oop, went over your space, too many photos, that's okay, $10, ain't no big deal, drop in a bucket. But they want to hit you with small numbers, so eventually over time you just keep debiting those small numbers and they add up. Especially when you try to retrieve your data later if you need it. But what we're talking about here, these are the top 10 reasons why you want to have a personal cloud in your house. One, of course, no usage or subscription fees, nice. We can go up to 16 terabytes, okay, that's pretty cool. When you're on the same network at the house, you have faster access because believe it or not, I have clients like K-Bar Electric in Benita Springs. They have a virtual server we set up. Instead of having a big box, it might cost $14,000 sitting in a room with an air-conditioned climate, and it talks to all their workstations out in the office, and everything's in that unit. This thing doesn't exist. We're actually using a virtual server up in the cloud somewhere. They need to have the internet connection to actually work every day. You cut that connection, nothing happens. They go home early. So, but also there's lag. So if the internet's busy, remember ISPs on 2 different ends. Comcast on your side as an example, and Comcast on the side you're connected to. So it's not just your internet, it could be someone else's. You can also use your web browser to access your data inside now. You always have remote backup available. And there's some really great things here. Unlimited storage space, and you can actually, some of these devices, you can just plug in an extra external hard drive, just plug it right in, and actually increase your space for backing things up. Here's a cool feature. You can stream your own videos and music no matter where you're at. So imagine being at your daughter's wedding in California. Come here, want to show somebody, I wish I could show you the video. Now you can bring up your iPad, your iPhone, or your laptop or whatever and show it right there in the middle of Starbucks. As long as you've got internet connection, you can display these things. So stream it right from your house right to you. And then they have some pretty good tools from the different manufacturers to make these things happen. So they do make things easy out of the box, so to say.
You've heard about the cloud, all sorts of clouds. Your content is accessible and backed up, but where? It's time to make the cloud yours. Introducing Seagate Personal Cloud. Plug it into your Wi-Fi router and your personal cloud begins. Seagate Personal Cloud automatically and wirelessly stores all of your photos, videos, music, and docs in one central location. It's compatible with any computer in your home, Mac or PC, plus smartphones and tablets. Even your network-enabled TV becomes the perfect screen to view your media. With Seagate's Media app, everything is neatly organized by size, name, and title. And because it's a cloud, your files are accessible wherever you go with an internet connection. You can view photos, stream music, or even upload files whether you're home or on the road. You have peace of mind that your digital life is completely backed up in one secure, accessible location on your Seagate Personal Cloud. Our 2-bay model provides even more data protection with a duplicate backup of all your files. So enjoy your digital life with the freedom of your cloud. Seagate Personal Cloud, your world on all your devices.
What do you guys think of that?
Hey,
That sounds like magic in a box, doesn't it? Oh, questions are ready. Go ahead.
So isn't that pretty?
Absolutely.
So, but the Wi-Fi went out.
Now what?
Am I screwed?
The Wi-Fi's out, the power's out, your internet's out, we got problems.
Yeah.
Yep. See, I love all these cool concepts, and actually I like that idea. But the problem is the kids today, my kids, they can love into this stuff. They didn't go through the baby steps of going from where we used to be to where we are now and know all the burdens we've had with things. It's nice, and I'm going to explain later too. Yes, they have a single unit there, and it keeps everybody's, all their toys and all your data in one location. But then they have a dual system and a 2 hard drive, and one mirrors the other. So if one hard drive fails, technically all the data should be on the other drive. But if we have a power surge, why? We live in Florida, we have Flicker, Phase, and Light Company. After a hurricane, who's to say what's going to happen to our personal cloud? It might conflict, and that's what I'm worried about. So again, this isn't, I'm going to tell you this a couple times, I can repeat it. This isn't a catch-all for all your backup storage. You can use it for that, you can access your data on the road in different places, but I still want you all to have your own time machine, your super dupers, your carbon copy cloners, your carbonites, crash plans, whatever you want. I want you to have multiple backups. I agree with Jerry 100%, belts and suspenders. This is our data, and we hope to keep moving it with us. We're shuffling it along from machine to machine as we get older, and things change on us. You got to have more than one way to get these things back. And these are still new. Again, it's everybody's racing to come to the market, but what's the next best thing? And it's still in its infancy. I like the concept, and I have seen it in action with a few clients, and it does work kind of well.
What's it cost?
Well, this one here, I believe starts at $169. You'll see most of these units are start around. I've seen some like $124, and then like anything, sky's the limit, because you can start adding features and functions and bigger hard drives and Wi-Fi options and adding extra hard drives. The funny part is you hear there's 2 more videos you're going to hear, but they'll say, hey, if you have an extra hard drive laying around, just plug it into the device. Well, I don't know, every hard drive I have is being deployed, for some personal reason. I don't just have it laying around, but if I do, they're the old FireWire 400, 800 drives that aren't going to plug into a USB. So that's what these all have USB ports. Now, they are 3.0 on most of them, so they are very fast. But as we look future to Apple, they're changing their ports. So USB-C is now a whole new connector. So as Jerry and I discussed earlier, we're gonna have multiple connectors for the connector just to connect to something. At a cost. One thing nice about the personal cloud, you can stream, content from any of your devices, even to your smart TVs. How many have any of these smart TVs like Samsung or Vizio? They work pretty good. And a lot of them have their own apps built in. It's kind of funny because Apple brings out the Apple TV, Roku's got a box, Chromecast from Google Chrome. They all want to control your content. They all want to access your stuff. They want to put it up on screen. They all want you to have a personal account with them. And for a small fee, keep all your stuff with them as well. And they'll keep a good eye on it. But those are the things I worry about. I like to have things, tangible, things that I can sort of control in my house. The personal cloud's nice because you can, as long as you have an internet connection, right, Wi-Fi, you can access all your data on the go. One of the nice things about this unit is it does stream, so you could be having the House of Cards, which I haven't watched yet, a series on one of the channels. You can have it on your home computer, be streaming it to your sitting waiting for catch a plane, streaming it right to your phone in the airport as long as you have a connection. Pretty cool, huh? Of course, you better have extra battery life too. This is just kind of an overview of their stuff. I mean, they essentially store and back up all your content from all your devices automatically. Once you install the software for each of your devices, it will connect, and once it's on your network, it all starts working together. There's sort of some magic there.
What's the security? Is it dependent upon the security of your router?
Security of your own router, yes. But now, some of these allow access to specific folders, because some of these units will invite you to say, hey, I want Mitch to have access to a couple thousand folders. I can actually do different security levels so he can get access to it. Some I send him a link and he logs into it. Others I can just send a file that allows me to set security settings on how deep I want something to go. Because they're actually making these for home and office use as well. So they're looking at the big picture. I do like the 2-bay model they have because it mirrors the content. The only problem is it's all in the same box. If it gets fried, most likely we're going to lose everything at one time. That's what I worry about. And I believe these are all spinning hard drives. And we'll talk about a little bit about hard drives at the end of this thing, because that'll confuse you a little bit too, what you should get and not get. Let's see. Oh, what's nice about this one too, it also works with the public cloud services, like Dropbox. How many have a free account with Dropbox? I got one. Okay, there it goes. You can get Google Cloud, and then there's Skyblock, whatever it is with Microsoft. SkyDrive, thanks. Skyblock's, I'm thinking of a football game. But because that, you can actually access all those big ones and pull all your data down automatically. So you can go right to Google Drive, hit the button, and have access to your stuff instantly. So that's kind of nice. You can have stuff in different locations and still pull it down with this software and this hardware, which is nice. And just showing you the bottom, there's like Box.com, the Dropbox icon in the middle, Google Drive on the end there. It just shows you have access to the other public clouds. It's kind of hard to see, but it's one of the interfaces of what the iPhone will look like. Then there's your dual drive system, but they're basically saying, hey, it connects everything you have and makes everything simple and easy. The funny part is, as I start reading all the reviews for all this stuff, I try to get a well-balanced overview of what the pros and cons are. I omitted a lot of things because a lot of people start getting, because it's so new, they haven't been out all that long, not a lot of people have had their hands on them and or had a good chance of reviewing them. So their comments and remarks are kind of petty. Like, well, at least Seagate's comes in black, the MyCloud's in white. I mean, it's good for an Apple user because, they have white in their stuff. It should be black. I'm like, who cares? I worry about, the pros and cons, things that are going to affect whether I should buy the device or not. One of the nice things about Seagate, out of the box, with a few minutes, it's ready to go. Some units, there's been issues where they've had firmware updates, but those, it's all free, a little bit of time consuming, but otherwise it works really well out of the box. Has a nice interface, which we like easy things to figure out and touch and navigate, which I like. There's a lot of variety of backups. You can actually back up Time Machine, you can back up to other clouds, so it's a very nice device for doing different things, because the Time Machine works directly to it, so you can have use that as another Time Machine backup. If you're using Super Duper on the direct drive, you can use that as a Time Machine backup on that drive if you choose. The personal cloud itself isn't very fast as it operates, okay? But for what most people are going to use it for, maybe not this group, it depends. If you're just doing documents, small stuff, I don't know how it works on big photo libraries. I mean, George, you might have an issue. A lot of people who do photos and videos, I mean, that's an audio for me, it's big content. I can't rely on that. I need something that's more direct connected. But, things will get better with speeds, and Wi-Fi is also getting faster, as we know. But there's also, with this, there's a limited amount of apps in the App Manager. Basically, they have all different apps of different things you can do, the different devices they can interface with. For example, if you have a Samsung TV, it has a way to interface with that. But if you bought a Vizio, it may not be there yet, but it's coming. So it's like everything. They're in infancy and they're growing.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
I thought one of these at Costco about 6 months ago. And the backup speed was so deplorable that I couldn't function with it. I mean, versus
I'm glad you said that, that's true. What they've done now though, a lot of these units, if you look at them, they say dual core processors. See, before it was just a hard drive and a small little chip and they would just catch whatever data you sent. Now they actually have a little computer brain on them so it's able to navigate the traffic.
What is the speed?
That I don't know. I wish I could tell you. It varies on your network, it varies on the device you buy, and it also depends on how much data you send. If it's light data, I'm sure it's fast. If you send, a 60 gig video high def over to it, I'm sure it's going to be much slower.
Does it work on Wi-Fi, or do you have to plug into your router?
They plug into your router through an Ethernet port.
Through an Ethernet?
Yes.
Okay.
There are some do have some Wi-Fi features. Again, additional cost for certain units. Okay, they should come up here in a little bit. Good question. This is the iCloud.
It seems our digital lives are getting more chaotic. With so many ways to create and save what's important, it can all get scattered across who knows what and end up who knows where. You've heard about the cloud, where everyone can access everything they save from anywhere. But who wants to keep their precious content in some mysterious location? We've got a better idea. MyCloud, all your content saved in a single secure place back home. The real magic of MyCloud is the power you hold in your hands. MyCloud's free mobile app gives you instant access to everything you save anywhere you want. With your smartphone or tablet, streaming your music and movies has never been easier. And having your entire photo library at your fingertips is only the beginning. Just point, shoot, and upload, and the image is saved back home, preserving precious space on your mobile devices. And you can instantly share it with friends and family to send a link to a file or an entire folder, whatever the size. It's also a breeze to transfer files between the public cloud and your personal cloud. With MyCloud, you can open all your files remotely, whether it's a photo, video, or that big presentation. They're all available anywhere you go. You can even edit a file and save it back to your personal cloud. With the MyCloud desktop app, you get an intuitive hub for your digital life. Now it's simple to save, manage, and share everything right from your Mac or PC. Just drag and drop the files you want to save, organize them, and securely share links with friends and family in an instant. You can back up all the computers in your home, whether you have a Mac, a PC, or both. WD's backup software automatically protects all the files on your PCs. Plus, you can use Time Machine to back up your Mac. Gigabit Ethernet and dual-core processing deliver blazing fast file transfers so you can unleash all your media. Seamlessly stream music, photos, and videos to your connected TV, media players, and gaming consoles. And with MyCloud's USB 3.0 port, you can just plug in a USB drive for even more space on your personal cloud. No more running out of room, no more paying for more capacity. You can't say that about the public cloud. The MyCloud dashboard gives you a single view of your personal cloud for ultimate control. So you can check drive status, add users, and customize access to your shared folders. So rise above that other cloud. All your content saved in a single secure place back home. Accessible anywhere you go, all with no subscriptions, no fees, and best of all, no worries. MyCloud Personal Cloud Storage. Finally, a cloud of your own.
Makes you want to buy one, doesn't it? If it worked like the way it said. The funny part is they were so quick to tell you like, oh, hey, don't cost you anything. Yeah, okay, but I still gotta go out and buy a hard drive. I wanna plug it in, right? Here's the cost. I think they missed to tell you that. One of the things I don't like about that is, let's just say that's your only backup, okay? And you have Time Machine running too, because we're all Mac users, and that's fine. But let's just say, Mitch, you got a bunch of pictures and you want to plug in that USB 3.0 extra drive you have laying around, and you plug it in the back of that, that's great. But if all the data goes to that particular drive and that drive dies, that's the only place you had your data, now what? What's backing up the backup? See, for me, at home, I'm not going to talk about the Drobo, but I have one, and that's my primary backup, but I don't trust it. See, I also have a Seagate hard drive that backs up. I have 2 backups, and then I also have a third one is Time Machine on another Seagate drive. So I technically have 3 backups, just because I can't trust. Because I just do a loop, one backs up to another, and then the Time Machine does its own thing. It sounds like a lot, but I have a lot of data. I have kids, they're growing up. I got pictures, I got videos. I have a recording studio. I got a lot of music. So I have a lot of things to move over. And some of you folks do a lot too. You have your videos, you got your pictures. You need a place to keep it, and you want to keep it moving forwards. So there is, this also comes as a mirror drive unit too. They call it My Cloud Mirror. They actually have the same thing Seagate has. They have a dual drive system. And like anything, these start around that 169 marker. In fact, I was just at Office Depot before I got here looking for something. I think it was 199 for 2 terabytes.
You mentioned it connects with an Ethernet port to the router. Does the computer have to be operating? Let's say I want to stream it to the
No.
TV set or something.
No, it doesn't, because it's actually stored on that device. That drive, that device and the other one have its own hard drive, and all the data is stored on that drive. Because if you're out, your computers can be off. As long as that thing is on, your Wi-Fi is on at home, the internet's working, you can be sitting at Starbucks, listening to your favorite albums or watching a movie that you had on there. Makes it kind of nice. But again, this is more stuff. I'm still, how many were ever in the phone industry with AT&T or Montbell or anybody? Okay. It's funny, there's tiny little phone wires, not much, and so much travels across it. It was just our voice for so long. And now we have all this. I never thought the day that, I remember growing up, audio video cables were thick and big, and computer cables were thick and big. Everything was big, big, big. Remember the big goofy headphones? I made fun of those, always sounded good. Well, guess what's coming back, folks? The big headphones. Those little buttons don't work so well. But when you look at this, we have so much data. And it's just, they want high def video. George, what's a half hour high def? 1080i. What's that roughly size?
1.5.
What'd you say?
1.5.
Well, it depends upon the size.
But if you did, let's say, I guess what the biggest would be is usually
4 or
like.
5 gigabytes.
Okay. So you do a weekend of, like for me, I'll do a soccer tournament or baseball tournament all week. If I do multiple videos, I'm filling up a hard drive very, very fast. If I want to share that with somebody, it's hard to say, hey, look at this 5 gig video I have in high def. And there's ways we can go through different programs to make it smaller and save it for iPhones or iPads or Androids, and that's all great, man. I kind of miss the iDVD and burning discs for people because, DVDs are fun. Now we're getting away from all that. Now we're streaming our data. And these things, they do grow with you. They do go up to 16 terabytes in some models, but like everything. I think they were wrong to say you won't spend a whole lot of money. You will, because it depends upon how much data you have, you're going to grow to that next device.
I guess what appealed to me when I saw the Wall Street Journal was that Google is able to analyze what's in their cloud, and Yahoo is able to analyze what's my stuff that's in their cloud, and Microsoft. So it gives me a small sense of privacy.
It does, and I agree with you there. The problem is now, though, privacy, there's not much left. There really isn't. What bothered me recently was, this is kind of funny. I've been teasing my wife about wearing a Wonder Woman outfit. Just don't let your minds wander, okay? But what I was thinking, it just tried to be silly, because I always like Wonder Woman growing up. Linda Carter, beautiful woman. So the joke was we should get an outfit for the dog, because we got a little dog, and we have a little Wonder Woman outfit on the dog. Well, I looked at Amazon one day, looked at different costumes around Halloween, just goofing around. Didn't buy anything. And I was looking up, actually I was looking up just Seagate Barracuda hard drives, because I'm putting together a server, so I was looking up hard drives. And there was something else, cables for a generator. So just a whole other off-the-wall thing. So I was reading Mac Rumors, you guys have read that website, it's pretty cool, they keep up to date on everything. So I'm looking through the stuff, and all of a sudden floating on the side screen was the Coleman cable I was looking at, and the Wonder Woman outfit. And over here was the Barracuda hard drive, and some other things. They're popping up down the screens, Amazon, BH Photo, Lowe's, and Home Depot, and going, wait a minute, I'm on Mac Rumors, what the hell, how they know that? But somebody's watching, Google's watching, they're learning. And if you didn't know this, is the more you search a certain way to yourself and style, they don't let you out of that. They keep you in that little pool that you're in. So in order to go somewhere else, sometimes you gotta change your location, which you can do on your in your Google settings, so you can get out of your little zip code, so to speak. Because they keep track of you. And oftentimes you say, hey, where can I find a Honda generator around me? Oh, there's nothing for 36 miles. Well, basically the search stopped at Fort Myers and won't go any further. But if I push it some more, I can actually say, hey, there are other things over Miami and Lauderdale and places I can go get a generator. Or open up a search. It's kind of funny, but they are watching, they are controlling. And Jerry's right. I think this is probably one of the few things we have left. Like I said before in the past, I like tangible assets. I like something I can touch and hold. You know, I mean, you're talking about avid vinyl record lover. 45s, albums, the sound quality is phenomenal. I had a studio for years. Now I got this thing called a WAVE or AIFF or a MP3. Sound quality is poor. It's not the same. It's not your daddy's Oldsmobile kind of thing. The sound is weak. But I have to trust it's there. I used to DJ weddings for a film. I knew my records worked, my turntables worked, my sound sounded great, people had a great time. Now I couldn't imagine DJing a wedding, pulling up a laptop going, okay, hard drive don't fill, hard drive don't fill, hard drive don't fill. Imagine that was Windows, and a lot of DJs have Windows. But I talked to somebody, and they go, oh dude, I got like 3 or 4 in a car, you know, got 4 or 5 hard drives. I'm like, oh my God, man, that's just terrible. But it is nice knowing that I used to run a truck to carry all my crap and all my crates of records. These guys show up with a laptop, a couple amps have their own speakers with their amps in them, a microphone like this. We can party all night right now. So things have changed and come a long way, but we are losing privacy, and also losing where our data goes. And keeping it close to us is actually why we're talking about this today.
Dennis, so did you say, I can't remember or didn't hear it, so let's say you get a new one of these now, and you want to back up what's on Dropbox onto that, can you do that?
Yes, the ones that have the cloud-based, like this one does and Seagate does, you can just click to see Dropbox and say, go bring these down, or if it's something you have on your desktop or whatever, you can send it up, so it works both ways.
Okay, great.
Up and down.
Dennis,
Yes, sir.
to get on what you mentioned earlier about them tracking you, what I do, you can use an alternate browser. You could download Camino as no supported OmniWeb, Opera. So, because when I go to Amazon, I'm just looking for something, then it's not recorded only in that browser, and I don't sign in, so they don't really know who I am.
The funny part you say that, but see, what they're trying to do now is almost everywhere you go. I went to look up an article recently. Oh, it was right there in front of me, but to continue reading, I had to create a username and a password to get to the parent site just to finish reading the article. And they're getting smart about that.
One more thing, most of you know that I used to be in cable advertising. Well, as long as you're not watching television or any streaming video on anything, we won't watch you, but if you are, we're watching you. And we're building a wonderful picture of you.
Right, now Comcast especially, because you have to have that box.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Comcast knows, and they can send younger people a different commercial at the same time on the same program that they're sending to me, and I'm getting the hearing aid commercials and and my son, if he's watching the same program, he's getting, iPhone commercials and I watch, which I never see.
No, that's true. They're always watching. You know, it's funny. I was sitting down. I had we dropped the remote and just quit working for Comcast. So I just grabbed my iPhone, logged into my account, and I was changing the stations through the internet back to my box and changing it on the TV. That's really cool. But then you kind of go, whoa, because in my house on my iPhone, the internet, come back and change my TV set. Look, Mom, no hands. Yeah, that's a little scary.
I'm just kind of, I'm not from up north, Minnesota. Anyway, I'm just amazed that down here they have these hurricanes and everything, and they lose all communications and everything. So is this not like a crazy vulnerability in a hurricane zone?
No, Like
Is
everything,
everybody-
everybody has to have a disaster plan, and the longer you live here, the more they'll tell you how to prep, especially as June rolls around. They're gonna have magazines and articles and warnings and TV, and your weather guys will be telling you what to do. We always prep. Now, the thing is, I always tell folks, you don't wait for the lightning to strike before you start to unplug and do things. You know, if bad weather's approaching enough where you should be concerned, shut down your system. Best case scenario, just unplug it from the wall. It'll be fine at that point. Now, I do have some expensive equipment like the battery backups. I have really good APCs and some other units, and they'll take the hit, but really nothing wins against lightning, okay?
You know, but in terms of interruption of power and communication, whatever, for long term,
It can happen. But look at New York City.
right?
16, well, not New York now, a lot. I mean, their internet goes down daily with the point they have so many hotspots and Wi-Fi points for everybody to use just to get them off the cell towers, just to get them into the trunk lines. I have no idea how this city stays alive during the day. I mean, I have no idea. But what's amazing to me with the phone stuff, again, it was just making a phone call. I used to remember the party lines. Mrs. Abbott, can you get off the phone? I need to call somebody. You know, nowadays, I mean, everything we do is connected to the phone wires and the cable line. If you look at a piece of coax cable or the phone wires, pretty much to it. We're sending all this data. It's absolutely amazing. It's not how we do it. It's magic to me. If we get back to these two things, they were doing a comparison as far as like the actual cloud where you have to pay for, the more you pay for a cost. My cloud, I mean, you get a ton of capacity for your content. You can access it anywhere. There's no recurring fees. Again, if you start with a bigger drive, you're actually paying for more. But you're in control, your personal content, like Jerry said, it's on your stuff, not on their stuff. And then it's a fast backup, it's on your own network, should be faster than going over the internet to their network. This is just kind of the same thing, just like the Seagate stuff. Basically, it's a central access point for all your media. You can access it from anywhere, as we said before. You know, a lot of people, you know, Apple did a very poor job when they rolled out the iPhones and the iPads. They really didn't tell people, along with this nifty camera, that you'll be taking a million videos and snapshots and start downloading all these games and music videos and stuff. Everybody bought like that 16 gig model, which didn't hold anything. And then they said, well, okay, now what I do with all my stuff, I can't do an update. And most of them were not educated, especially the Windows side, that you're supposed to have a computer at home to offload the data, and they didn't know to do that. So a lot of people lost a lot of things, so Apple started saying, okay, we'll keep some stuff up in the cloud. You know, you should now sync their iTunes, make sure Windows and Apple gets all your stuff. Well, now you can go directly from your device right to these things, which isn't bad either. As Jerry asked before about password protection, here it even says your data is always safe and under your control. You can protect it from unauthorized access and for every user too. And it sets up in a few minutes. This one does, actually they have a pretty good interface on theirs compared to the Seagate. And they had a lot more pros and cons for what it was worth. But this one's supposed to be fast because I mentioned earlier about the dual core processor. This is a faster unit. Stylish design like that. I guess somebody does. Easy setup, gigabit Ethernet, which is important. A very good interface. You know, starts off low pricing, and then of course, the more storage you want, it just goes up in price. And but on the cons, as far as the PC is concerned, since I'm not really a Windows person, I don't care about their app. But slow wireless transfer speeds. So, and it can't stream the media from the cloud to a client over the internet. So this is one that can't do that, but Seagate can. BitTorrent support, that doesn't mean anything to you guys, but how many know what torrent sites are? Okay, stay away. Basically what happens is a lot of folks that, you know, when you hear someone mention, or you read an article that how Apple might have a virus or they found something, it's always done by the Dr. Webits in Russia. People are always hacking into everybody else's stuff. There's people paid to do that. We have people in our country do it. We talk about other countries do it all the time. But because there's a lot of file sharing websites out there, so if you don't want to pay for that version of CS6 of the whole entire Photoshop suite, you can go to one of these websites and download software. Usually when you do that, you get a little something, something with that. But what people are hoping for, they want less traces to themselves, not a privacy issue. If I can store all the stolen content, whether it's the movies I bootlegged or whatever, and music I bootlegged, I can store it on this device and then have someone else, you know, do it with the file sharing server and get access to it. These guys don't allow that to happen, which is kind of a good thing. But I'm sure different companies will allow that to occur. And there's no printer support, no data redundancy. How many knows what redundancy means? redundancy,
Copy.
yes.
Are you saying they can only search a folder, that you can't search for a file name?
You know, it displays the content by folders. It displays it by folders, so it'd be like, you know, your Alaska pig.
So there's no, whatever we call our, what's our new thing called?
Spotlight.
Spotlight.
Well, again, remember, these are still in their infancy, they've been around for maybe the last, I'd say less than a year, because they started talking about it in 2012, 2013, 2014 was a big year, they started making that. And I mean, March was actually, beginning of this month, was a big deal about bringing these to the forefront. So they're starting to come forward. I'm sure that things will get, as Windows migrates into Windows 10, as we migrate to the next thing of Mac, there'll probably be some more support and different access things. And there's no way to access admin securely outside the network. So if you have to come back in to do something administrative, you can't do it without fear of having a compromise.
It'd be nice if you could keep all the files under.
You know, go ahead, Mitch.
Dennis, what was the capacity on the Seagate? Because on the
Seagate start at 1 terabyte, and then they go up to 6.
6.
Yep, but you have to look at different ones, and we'll talk about different sizes of drives at the end, because they vary from different models and what you're trying to do. Because now, all the hard drive companies have decided to go with color coding to make your life a little easier. When if you're buying a network attached storage, which is kind of like that, it's going to be a red drive. If you want one for capacity and green, to be green, then the green drive. If you want just generic everyday drive, it's blue. If you want something performance, it's black. They got purple for if you're doing home surveillance and video DVRing, it's a purple drive. The yellow drives are more for the high-speed servers, so they're changing the way the colors are, and that's all. It's the same for both SSD and regular hard drives.
It'd be nice if you could keep all the files on your computers in sync. With Transporter, you can. Now, you can automatically have your documents, movies, music, and photos on all your computers without ever having to think about it. Have you ever needed an important document while you're on the go? Or maybe left home and wanted access to a movie or your favorite album? Transporter is easily accessible from all your mobile devices. Whether you want to watch movies while on vacation or download documents on a business trip, everything stored on your Transporter is available from everywhere. How can you protect your files from disaster? Add a Transporter in another location, and a second copy of your files is automatically protected off-site. Want to share large collections of movies, music, or photos? One Transporter makes sharing easy. Even better, share with other Transporter users, and now everyone has a fast local copy. So if your friends and family own one, you can all easily sync and share files with each other. Would you like to privately share files with all of your business associates at a fraction of the cost of cloud-based services? Cloud storage services all charge big monthly fees and aren't very secure. That's why we designed Transporter as a private device you can buy once and own forever. With Transporter, all your files are stored on devices you control and are never stored in the cloud. Transporter, sync everything, everywhere.
The Apple Store was carrying this device. It started off as the sync. It looks like this sort of thing right there. It's a hockey puck. And it's actually pretty cool technology. Basically, when you have all your data syncs between all your devices, which is kind of cool, that way you don't have to worry about trying to figure where everything is. And your data is not stored in that device. It's stored on a hard drive that's plugged into it. And it goes right into your network. And the people who made Drobo, this is the connected data. It's another sister company who makes the product. It's actually a pretty cool concept. A few guys at the Apple Store have used it and liked it. I have not bought one yet. I'm still waiting for things just to settle down in this whole arena to see whether or not I think any of these are right for me. But that's just the baby version. We'll get into that a little bit. The bigger version are these. And technically they were the first cloud appliance, as they call it. Not that it matters. Everyone else, it doesn't matter if you're first or not. I mean, the last two we saw both make you want to buy one after watching the videos. So this one here actually has a 2 terabyte hard drive built into it. And if you get a couple of those, so let's just say Mitch, you have one at the office, one at the house, and you have one out, out west, then that way, whatever goes on one can be synced on all the others, which is pretty cool. If you like your spouse and you want them to have access to some of your files, you can send stuff to them, or they can send stuff to you through their units as well. So basically, you can do friends, family, work, And as long as they're connected to the network, they all see each other, which is really cool. Now again, this has a 2 terabyte hard drive built in. The other unit has a hard drive of any size you want to add to it. Again, there's more cost, the bigger the hard drive you go, and it's all on that one particular drive. This is more for about syncing and keeping your data in all locations. And I do like the offsite backup. So, for example, if you had one here and one offsite, they would be synced with each other, and all your data would be there. You would be losing something. But they're limited on that size, and they have bigger ones as we go later. The big blue box up there, that's actually a big rack mount version. These things can get up to be, 16 terabytes or 20 terabytes. But as I said before, you're automatically going to sync all your files between all your digital devices, which is nice, and have access to it wherever you're at and when you need it. But again, like he said, you got to have an internet connection of some sort to get to your data.
Who makes this?
This is connected data. Let's see.
Are these sold through the Apple Store?
The Apple Store, I think they were on the website. I don't know if they're still there or not, but you can buy them a lot of different places. I just need to go to connecteddata.com and buy them. There's different sizes.
Did you say they're owned by Robo?
It's a sister company to Drogo. It's one of the designers who designed it. And people like branch off to their own thing. This was the next concept. So they're sharing it from what I was told, but I don't know offhand. Because Drogo went through some changes. But it's actually nice. Just like Gary said before, there's none of the privacy concerns about who's watching your stuff. And there's no recurring fees. Like they say, you buy it once, as long as it keeps working in the future, then that's not so bad. But having it forever is kind of a misnomer because the technology changes every single year. We're going to want model 2.0 next year and 3.0. They're going to change colors, and a lot of different things. It kind of gives you the breakdown. It tells you like the internal hard drive on the transporter, the tall unit itself is up to 2 terabytes. Then the sync doesn't have one, it's whatever you plug into it. But you can take up to an external 4 terabyte drive on the sync itself. They both hit gigabit Ethernet, and the transporter itself can be optionally wireless, which means you can just set it on a table somewhere and not have to have it plugged into the network. And it works back and forth with everything. They're both equal parts sharing. And they start at $99 for the sync unit. They always want you to buy them in pairs. It actually works better that way. And then you have that's $200. If you want 2, it's $400. So no matter what we look at here, at some point we're going to have an outlay cost. I'm going to guess around $200 or more for the size that most people are going to need. But they do have some really cool things. They've come out with the small stuff is just for home use, but they actually make bigger units. And there's a lot on their website. But this one here, the box over to the left, give you an example. School can share privately with all the parents. So imagine everybody being logged into that, and one teacher can have all her students signed in with all privacy. That means no one else can see them, just you and the school back and forth. It works the same way for businesses. It's a really safe unit. It actually works very well. Everything syncs. So kids nowadays are actually getting their homework on iPads and computers. Hit a button, boom, it's already been sent to the teacher. She can see it instantly to school. Nobody's printing out paper anymore. And then here, what I like about the transporter themselves, it's not just your stuff. You can transport, if you have friends or business colleagues, if they all have these, you can sync with everybody, which is kind of nice. And you can control what do you let them see or not see.
Dennis?
Yes.
The big and the small are compatible in the ring?
Good question. I think they are. I believe they are. I'll have to check there. It's a good question. I believe they are. Now this thing doesn't stream your data like the other 2 units do, but you do have flexible syncing abilities between lots of different things, not just you, but your friends and family as well. Your data is available anywhere you are as long as you have a connection. It's great for collaboration, like I said, especially for work, no subscription fees, which is kind of nice, because in order to do that, you have to pay services to have that. It's actually pretty good. The one thing I don't like is they limited their drive sizes and their speeds, so that's not so good. And you actually have to know somebody's email address, to actually send someone a link to invite them to the network. These are all, it's like the word cloud is a very vague word. Like, what is the cloud? Well, The NAS, or network attached storage, or NAS they call it, it's kind of vague too, because there's different types of appliances, equipment that they use for different types of network attached storage. I mean, your time capsule is a network attached storage. Okay, it connects to your network and you can back up to it. That's like easiest for all of us to understand. But they have some really big units that talk different ways. This one's a little different. It syncs your data between the different devices. The transporters have hard drives in them, and the data is actually in those drives. So if one of those breaks, the data is still in another one. You can add a new one, turn it on, and all of a sudden the data shows up on that. Automatically. You don't have to try to upload it. It does it all by itself.
Since you can sync multiple units, you ever envision that private iCloud will replace all our super duper time machine iCloud?
I think Apple's already started laying the groundwork for that with their big server farms that they're building. Google's doing the same, Microsoft. Again, it's a bidding war for our stuff. Facebook's been doing it every day without us knowing it, because it's like, oh yeah, all your pictures and your videos and your posts, everything you like. Facebook knows more about us than the military does at CIA. That's where they go first to find out the information, I guarantee it. But their engines are genius. I mean, what a concept, who knew? But I agree with you. I think that's going to happen. I think at some point, when we look at Photo 10, so they call it for Apple's next iPhoto replacement, they want more data in their cloud. Again, I do rendering and editing and different things on my computer, but if it's up in the cloud, now I've got to rely on that internet connection to see my stuff. And if it breaks, and I got nothing, at least here, if it's local, I still have access to it, as long as I have power to pick it up. Is it right for me? Well, it does offer some great flexibility. It's another backup solution because you can use it for time machine. Is your network or ISP fast enough? Well, there's a lot that merits that as well because, Comcast is a very fast ISP. And for the most part, people have Comcast with speeds. It's never been an issue. CenturyLink, on the other hand, they can go up to 25 megabits in certain areas, but not everybody can get those speeds. Further you are at the end of the run from the server, the slower and the fall off you get on their speeds. Summit is here, although I don't know how many live in Pelican Bay, but I think some are going to have Summit, some are going to have Comcast. Last I heard, we'll see. They're not doing some ultra deployment or at least meeting deadlines anyway. So it's a cat and mouse game, and everybody's here. Adelphia's here, Hotwire's here, Lightstream is here. There's a lot of other companies coming into your neighborhood to get your business. So Comcast isn't the only game in town, and they're starting to come around a lot more. So we'll see. Fiber optics is going to be a choice. When we get fiber optic to the actual device themselves, and these computers start talking that way, we'll be moving data much faster. And I can definitely envision at that point having all our stuff in the cloud, be able to get to it just like that. But again, still has to be connected. Having all your stuff everywhere is nice. It can also be troublesome too. Because if it doesn't work and you decided not to take like that USB backup drive, which I have not one for tonight's meeting, I have one here. I have a copy here. Okay. And it's one on my computer, and I have 3. Now George has a copy, so we have 4 at this point. But if I relied on having a transporter at the house and sitting in one right here and try to do this lecture, if something went awry, guess what? Not so much. So, I do like having my stuff everywhere, but it's like, did anybody ever watch George Carlin, the comedian, talk about having my stuff, our crap, and we take it everywhere with us? It's a funny skit. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it because you'll laugh. It kind of relates to all this because everywhere we go, we just want our stuff to go with us. The problem is we have so much of it. Now, we only mentioned the 3 personal cloud from Seagate, MyCloud from Western Digital, connected data, transporter, and sync units. But there's other ones out there. LaCie, CloudBox. Although they're owned by Seagate, I believe, so I think there's going to be some similarities to how that product works. Synology, Disk Station series, that's where are they at, Disk Station? That's the one with the 3 green lights over there to the left. Those actually are nice units, just smaller reviews I read, but they're more for business and corporations, but you use them for home use too. They do make smaller units. They're nice. Netgear, of course you know those guys, they've got their own version. D-Link, the other one, Buffalo. These guys all make wireless routers, okay? So why not get into this arena too while they're at it? But good products and they're all evolving, so we'll see what happens next year this time. I mentioned earlier about different types of hard drives. Who knew? You just knew there was one in the box, you don't know what color it was. Generally, Apple puts in very good stuff. When you buy their products, they always put good hard drives in. They used to put in what we call close to enterprise drives just because they're better quality. Most Apple devices lasted a good 5 years, and the same hard drive used to spin very well. Windows computers usually got that blue one on the end. It's just everyday generic use. They're not really made to last a long time, but they're the cheapest ones you can get. The green ones are for capacity. The problem with the green drives, they're for green power, so they're actually supposed to use less energy. I don't know how reliable they really are, actually how much data you really save. Energy-wise, they're there. The black ones are performance. The black Caviar from Western Digital and the Barracuda drives are black from Seagate, so they kind of mask each other in colors, and they're very fast drives. That's what I have in most of my stuff. I learned last night that there's purple drives now. Didn't know that. They're for basically for surveillance and DVR systems. But what they're doing is they're designing drives with mechanisms in them to take the wear and tear of constantly being on and spinning fast and recording at high rates of speed and then take the surges on the system. The red ones now are for the network attached storage. I had a Drobo years ago that was called it was their file sharing one, their NAS, and it worked over my internet. And you want to talk about dog slow, George? It was pitiful. Just to copy 2 megabytes took 10 minutes. So, imagine copying 2 terabytes. It'd still be copying right now. And Drobo said, try not to use the green drives. And you kidding, I had all black drives in there. They say performance, but wasn't getting any performance. The problem was that thing didn't have processors in it. It just had a little brain that said, oh my God, you take all this data and I'm going to find a place to put it. And because Drobo breaks out over all the hard drives for a constant backup, so you don't lose anything, it takes longer to read and write that data. So that was an issue.
Are they all using the same colors?
They're supposed to be very similar, yes. They've all kind of gone to that. But now you'll see on Seagate, they have actually gone with letters, but the color's sort of similar. The yellow ones are for the enterprise hard drives, the ones that go to big servers.
But the warranties have dropped from 5 to 2 years.
Well, here's the funny thing about warranties. Warranties don't really work, and explain to you why. Because even if I have all my personal data on a hard drive, and the hard drive fails within a year,
It's 100%.
they'll guarantee they'll give me a new drive. They want the old one back. Where's all your data? Still on that drive. So I don't know where it's going to go, what they're going to do with it after that. So you tend to say, no, I really want to send you my drive. Well, go buy yourself a new hard drive then. So that's the downside of this stuff. So it's a catch-22. It's the same thing. That's why computers on the PC world, they're around a laptop. You can get between $250 and $450 for a decent 15-inch laptop from Asus Racer. Not bad. They're made to last a year, year and a half at best. But there's a warranty. Even if it fails within a year, they want you to send it in. Now, A, they don't tell you, one, they're not responsible for data, so you better have a backup. Two, you may not get your unit back, and you may get a refurb. So it's not the one you bought, it might be an older one, or likewise. Three, they didn't say how soon you get it back. It might be 2-3 weeks. So most people say, screw it, I ain't got time to wait. Just run to the store, buy another cheap computer, back at it again. So, and hopefully these backups do work. I do like the idea that the ones we're talking about today are all local. I don't know how fast they are restoring because none of us have done that yet. So I don't know how that's going to go. Real quick, these are just some of Seagate's things. But again, it's not just, there's how many have SSD drives in their equipment? Okay, now everyone else has regular hard drives. Okay. There's SSD hard drives, which are solid state drives. You have the solid state hybrid drive, which marries both the traditional needle-on record style platter plus the SSD technology together. And the HDD is just your regular hard drive from old school. It's just their performance reliability, but down below, Seagate just does it with letters. But basically, the colors kind of go the same too when at the end of the day.
Dennis, you've been negative in the past on solid state drives.
I am to a point.
Are you feeling any differently?
Yes and no, only because my problem is, Dr. Shapiro helped me load some stuff out of my car when I came in. He saw a box in there. I had a couple boxes in the car to say forensics on them. I do a lot of work for the court system in the sheriff's office trying to get data off hard drives and then have to go testify in court, which is a lot of fun. With traditional platter hard drives, somebody can erase their hard drive, I can get the data back. The drive can crash, I have a way to get the data back. SSD, when it stops working, it's done. There's nothing I can do. I can't shock it back to life. It's gone. And once they get to the limit of read and write, then that's over. And then when it gets to the point of just where it quits working, there's nothing I can do to get data back.
So nobody's developing equipment to,
There are, the problem is, the different manufacturers, Hitachi, Seagate, Western Digital, the big companies, Toshiba, the drives all use what they call a trim method. It's an algorithm. So think of it as a little Einstein in the hood going, okay, I got 1,000 acres to record on. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. Okay, I wrote this guy too many times, I'm gonna move some over here. Well, there's an algorithm that polices that data for that drive. I'd have to have a piece of equipment that knows that particular algorithm for that particular year, for that particular style hard drive, then do the search. They do have some of them. The equipment I looked at, price-wise, starts at like 26 grand. So it's not so easy for me. And the clean rooms, will have issues, but as far as the SSDs are concerned. But as long as we still have traditional platter hard drives available, which they've come down in price and they're really available with their sizes, people are going to get broken anytime soon. And the big servers, they don't use SSD, they use the big cheetah drives. They spin between 10, 12, and 15,000 RPM, which is really fast. And if you ever heard the server, they're loud and noisy. They scream.
what about Fusion?
Fusion's, actually, I don't mind that drive so much because your operating system sits on the SSD portion of it, and all your data sits on the needle and record portion of it, which I like. So if you're editing a picture or video, you've got the power of the old conventional hard drive. You've got quick access data on and off with the computer and doing things you don't have to move so much, including the operating system. On the SSD side, it's perfect. So I'm okay with the Fusion drives.
If you use one of these SSDs for backups, and I use multiple ones, but is it gonna tell me when it quits working?
No. See, that's one of the things, SSD, there's no warning. I wish we had idiot lights with these things. But at least with another one, you can say, oh, my computer's running slower, I get a spinning beach ball, freezes. SSD, if it just stops, your screen just goes, bloop, and you go, oh, shit, is that what happened? I'll turn it back on, go to Apple. And they say, oh, your hard drive's dead. Well, I told you that's not what happened. And then, what about my data? Well, do you have a backup? Better hope you have a backup. Cloud-based storage services, talking about backups. Carbonite, CrashPlan, iDrive, there's a few other ones out there you can back your data up to. Remember, anything over 30 gigabytes roughly, it's going to take forever to get your stuff back. I just did the Dock restaurant recently, I do all their computers, and we lost one of the main computers. 26 gigs, it took, it just took a few days. Yeah, they weren't lying, it took 3 days to get all the data back. I've had a client that had 800 gigs up in the Carbonite, which was nice, but when their server died, we couldn't get the data back. 27 different starts. We battled 4 months to get the data back. One thing nice about Carbonite, you have access to your data in the meantime while you're waiting for restoration to occur. It was so bad that we had to plead with them to send us a hard drive with all our stuff on it. There is another service out there, I'll mention, it's called iDrive. Look it up. They do the same cloud-based storage just like Carbonite, but once a year, if something happens, they will give you a hard drive, no extra charge, with all your data on it back to you. So then that way you can pull it in to whatever you're restoring from. So that's kind of nice. Anybody have any questions? It might be a little bit confusing. I do like what we were seeing. I do like the options, what they're going to offer us. But I just hope it gets a little bit better. I like the idea of the privacy. It's in our own house. But again, if all your eggs are in one basket, you don't have much of a backup. And I know you guys are smart enough. You guys come to good classes, good people here. You guys are being steered in the right direction with belts and suspenders and deadbolts and you name it. We have everything here to keep you guys backed up and get your data back should something occur. Most of the lay folks out there, they just see this, they watch that video on the internet, they'll be like, "Ooh, I gotta have this," and they'll buy it and say, "My stuff's in a personal cloud." Well, that Friday with the power surge, now they have nothing. So at least with Carbonite or something else that's off-site, at least I can get that data back. Okay.
As with an airport time capsule, this sounds nice and all, but without having to do business or anything, just routine family stuff, extended family members, it sounds like that's not a whole lot better than what I've got.
Well,
now.
if you don't have to stream your data everywhere you go, then time capsule's fine, because like right now I have one at the house where the kids, basically, I don't have hard drives for them, so they just, all their stuff backs up in the time capsule. My wife and I, we have multiple backups. The kids, I don't care, but at least they have something. This is just more that your stuff is local, everybody can back up to, you can access it from all our devices. The biggest thing is, you took a video on there and you want to get it off, you're able to just dump it off into the personal storage at home and have room on there to download and update or more apps or music or books or whatever you want to do. So I do like the idea of that. And then if you can move from that appliance to the computer, then to go to another backup, then yes.
Dennis, as you're aware, I have a drill ball.
Yep.
Early in your presentation, you said you had a drill ball, and then you follow that up with a statement you don't trust it.
I trust nothing. You know why? Because it's all man-made. I trust nothing. You know, after Muffy Go Clark's got one, and her drill boat has been awesome. And I'll tell you what was nice between, it was a good experience. Bad, good. Bad was she had a battery backup APC, which was smart. Everyone should have one. The battery was failing. So for about a month and a half, every night when she went to bed, it was on some clock cycle where it goes, it dumps off, pulls the electrical plug, checks the battery status, and then goes back to AC again. Well, every time it went to check itself from self-check, it would shut the unit off. Because once it killed the AC power, the battery wasn't holding a charge, it just went shut off. Well, basically, what we call a dirty shutdown. So basically, kept yanking a plug off that drove every single night. So finally, she got to the point, she goes, I don't know what's going on, I have to turn my computer on every morning. So we come to find, then she heard the buzz and the beep, 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 beep. Basically, it was a dead APC. We bought a new one, fired the thing up, Drobo showed up. You can see her files and folders. Couldn't click on them, couldn't access them, couldn't figure out why. I called Drobo. It was really cool. That little sync, little tool gives them a report and a log. They basically said your hierarchy is all messed up. You won't get access to your files. So to data recovery. We worked with them in data rescue. Within 2 weeks, a guy would call in at Muffy's convenience, and they would have them, they would scan 20 gigabytes at a time and give her access to 20 gigabytes. Like say we have to go from 1 to 100. They started with the first 20. They gave access to whatever data she wanted. She copied to another drive in the meantime. This is on the rescue side. And then they came back and said, okay, now from 20 to 40, 40 to 60, all the way to the end. And once she got access to all her data, she decided what she needed to recover or not. When it was all said and done, reformatted it, redid everything, and then drove us back in operation. It was nice, and it cost her nothing. That part was nice, other than the headache and having her, well, she bought another hard drive, a 4 terabyte drive, to move her 3 terabytes of data. She's probably the biggest user I've seen from anybody I've met. But the problem was, the dirty shutdowns caused that, and that's why I always tell people, I still got clients that reach under their desk and step on the power strip to shut everything off. And it's a routine method for some people in offices. You'd be surprised. I don't wonder half the stuff still works. But, data is so precious, it don't take much to kill it, and it's just ones and zeros at the end of the day. They get out of whack, we lose their stuff. So I definitely have more than one way to back things up.
If you buy one of these and you want to take it with you, like you go up north for 3 months, I know you can leave it there and leave it powered up, but say you're worried about somebody breaking in and stealing or something. Can you put it into somebody else's router and work all right that way?
Yeah, because it's accessing it. I think it's using a mediation server to talk to your stuff. So yes, no matter where you're at.
What do you call that encryption? I assume all these are encrypted in some way.
They are to a point. Remember, there are F-class supercomputers out there, so the world's best encryption can be beaten in 3 months.
Well, now, if I have one of these here, like the transport, have one in Utah, that's going to be, in my way of thinking, that's going to be just as slow getting that data from here to Utah as it will upload to Dropbox. So that faster thing is not.
Yeah, because like I said, that's why my parting comment was, how good is your network? How good is your Wi-Fi? We have an old wireless router, we have a new wireless router. You have the new AC, or the G router. Do you have CenturyLink? Do you have Comcast? Do you have Cox cable out there? I mean, everything varies. There's 2 sides to every coin. How far? If you're out in the middle of nowhere, you may be getting 1 megasecond, which really would suck. It's dial-up.
Also on, I know what you just said you have as a backup, and I've got about 3 more in addition to what you have. But I had a problem. There was a problem. Initially, I thought, oh, this Dropbox is going to be great. I'm going to put all my computer or my picture files up there, for iPhoto, and then I'll have them everywhere. And there was a problem with that. Did they ever solve that problem?
You Dropbox and iPhoto?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
There was a problem.
There was a problem. No, there was.
problem.
Because QuickBooks had an issue and they resolved it because I actually, believe it or not, have a couple of Marco. He literally sits like this, and about a foot and a half away, she sits like this. There's her laptop, there's his iMac. He opens up QuickBooks, it goes to Dropbox, opens up the file on his desktop, and then he closes it, she turns over here, opens it, goes to Dropbox, and opens it over here. So they both share the same file, but through Dropbox. And the problem is, you open and close that file over a network, this is their finance program. One click, bloop, gone. There goes all their last 15 years of records. So we immediately have them, before they close out, to do a backup. So there's always the latest one to go back to, and I've had to do it a few times. So I don't like having something like that. You're reaching to the clouds to grab your data and access it up here. I mean, they do say, hey, you can edit your stuff and save it wherever it is. You're still reaching out to edit it. It's not local. It's far away. So
But isn't that what Apple is?
that's what Apple's going to do.
And
They're all heading that way.
What's the latest rumbles about when that new photo thing's coming out?
Apple doesn't tell me anything. They don't tell the store guys anything. When you see them rumble for like they have extra training and things, and that's usually when I get a heads up it's coming out soon. Just like the watch, they're building extra training for the watch. The last release of the update for iOS, you noticed the little watch app that popped up on the desktop. So it's there. I didn't know about it at first because I didn't update my phone right away when my client said, hey, how do you get that damn watch app off the phone? I'm going, you need a clock? There's no watch app. I'm going, you got an Android? I know what you're talking about. I said, oh, okay. I felt stupid for a time.
There was an article the other day about, they've told the developers nothing, for the little developers. These guys have spent all winter getting ready for this watch.
Well, there's a reason why though.
And they said that they were not gonna put anything in the watch app store until after the watch is released.
There's a reason why. One thing I do, I'll give Apple this. What I do like about the difference between Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft, any of us can make a program for Microsoft and there's a disclaimer. If it doesn't work, screw you. That's kind of what it is. Because it can crash Windows in its entirety and you're on your own. Apple at least says, you want to write a software for Apple? Here's a developer kit. Here's all the APIs, here's all the stuff you need. And after you make an app, send it to us. We're going to check your homework, and if it looks good, it goes in our store, we'll sell it, you make some money, good deal. If not, I send it back for corrections, come back to the store, now you're in. Love that. So that's why, and Apple has a method. Everything they sell has to work. Within reason, it has to work. And I like that about Steve Jobs. They didn't rush anything. You have an iPhone, that's why Flash was never allowed on the iPhone. Because Flash works in the engine room, so to speak. So if it crashes, 99% of all crashes while surfing the web, both Mac, Windows alone, while surfing, is due to a Flash-related incident. So Steve Jobs said, that's the Flash, won't be on our devices. And everyone's like, what are you doing? You're crazy. But he's right. But the browsers don't crash. They do very well on the iDevices. They're limited to some websites, for certain things, but Apple keeps people out of the engine room, they operate from there up, and if stuff, if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, the app doesn't work or freezes, you get out of it and move on to something else. The phone still works, you don't have to rebuild your phone every few seconds. Windows phones never took off because they're running a Windows operating system at the smallest level, and they just didn't do very well, they don't catch on very well. So I do respect Apple's way of doing things. It is frustrating, but I'm sure once they get that watch being the way they want it, I'm sure it's going to be nuts. To me, I like the idea of the watch. I think it's a great concept, but for me, I don't see any purpose why I should buy it. My phone does everything I need it to do. So do I look at my watch? Do I look at my phone? Do I look at my watch? And now my computer does it. Oh, look, message from my wife across the screen. No. So or I answer it from my machine. It's kind of cool technology, but again, here we go. Everything's connected. Everything we have is connected. I never thought I could answer my phone through my computer. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dennis, about Flash, when the iPad first came out, Steve Jobs said that if people would go to HTML5.
And they laughed at it.
But is that underway? Or
no, it's here. That's the standard today. HTML5 is the standard.
Then why do we still need Flash?
What Adobe's done, did the save face, they've done everything in their power to save, listen, they got gazillions of dollars into Flash. A lot of companies have made Flash-based web pages for security reasons. You can't just go grab a picture and take it and copy to your desktop like you can on most websites. If it's done in Flash, it's a video, and there's different apps you can buy or pirate to get, content if you need it. But at the end of the day, it's a safety mechanism, plus it works very well when it works. Think it's like many little mini DVD players loading into a web page. There's a lot of versatility to it. A lot of people, it's like anything. People are old school. If you wrote in C++, that's what you wrote in. Jerry wrote Fortran or Pascal or COBOL. He's older, somebody's writing something newer now. So there's all these different systems, and what makes him better? If he can do the same thing you're doing, what you're doing, then why change? And right now, the way computers are going, they're forcing everybody to come forward with the language. HTML5 is a standard. It's WC3 certified, which is the organization that certifies these things. And Flash is getting to the point where they're actually probably going to change it just enough where it's actually going to start running on our devices, but it'll be out of that engine. So if that's the case, then Flash will be a viable product. But it's big for Adobe. Adobe had some issues. They had a major hack, I think about 2 years ago. It took half of their proprietary software. That's for all their suite, Adobe, InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, all those things were hacked. And so a lot of stuff, data was given up. Same thing happened to Symantec, who makes Norton antivirus and endpoint protection for a lot of businesses. So everybody gets compromised. So I think just with that alone, and a lot of viruses do come through Flash, they come through Air, they come through Shockwave, which are the 3 big products Adobe does for the web. Apple wants to avoid them as much as they can. They're trying to avoid Java, but Java runs in so many devices around the world, you can't just turn off Java. It's in every ATM we use. Who knew?
Thank you. Yep, and if there's anybody here from Adobe, I have to apologize, I haven't updated my Flash player since last time.
Exactly. That's okay. You look at Firefox, they're on version 36.04. I mean, there was a 0.02 2 nights ago. Where did 04 come from?
Just a matter of curiosity, are these huge server farms, what type of storage device do they use?
Golly, well, the Synology, which I showed you, those are one of the big server racks that they use. A lot of them use Dell and HP Blade servers. Those companies. It's like everybody's got an economy model. The mid-range, all the high-end. Dell's high-end stuff's decent. HP's high-end stuff is decent. Apple got in the server, field for a while, and then dropped what they started making. But they still do exist. The X servers, I can still find them places. Synology Corporation, SideQuest, there's a lot of big racks out there. Just if you've ever been in one of the control rooms, they're amazing. It's probably like close to the Arctic Circle. It's how cold it is in those places. Those things are very quiet. There's racks from APC, every battery backup system, and there's redundancies. One building talks to another building, talks to another building, and talks to another state to another building. You can knock out a whole farm and never lose anything because the redundancy is built so well. And the problem is, though, you turn off the electricity, then everything is dead. But we're all reliable on electricity. That's the easiest way, not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but they joke like, oh man, if they detonate a nuclear bomb or they do some bioweapon to our country, we'd be vulnerable. That's true. But if you really want to really hurt this country instantly, and this is I'm not making up, just turn off the power. Imagine New York City, 1 week without power. Everybody lives up, right? No running water, no escalators, no elevators, no nothing, no subway. It'd be a nightmare. We're actually better off living where we do, because logistics and water and being outdoors and one level. But it'd be hard for us just as well. But it's because we're all connected. I don't know. It'd be very difficult. Electricity is the easiest thing to do. You turn it off, and we're all powerless because we're all reliant. If you just look at people nowadays, they all sit like this in their car at a stoplight, waiting for the bus. I was using the restroom like everybody does. Guy next to me, one hand in one spot, the other hand was doing this. I was just really couldn't wait because my wife needs me. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so we can't put them down. That's pretty sad. Anybody else?
Which one does Hillary Clinton have in her?
She won't disclose.